Welcome back. How are you, Sammy?
Good morning, Gary. I am very good. I just returned for a 2.5 day, 9 presentations in St. Louis, which went extremely well. And I'm convinced that I will be re-invited to see more schools.
Wonderful. You got to teach us how you do this trick. You get more and more energy the older you get. It's amazing.
9 presentations in 2.5 days.
Unreal. Unreal. Um, okay. My question for today. You ready?
Always.
I I know the topic I want to discuss. I'm trying to figure out the right way to phrase it.
Don't
Um,
phrase it. Don't phrase it. Don't think. Just say it.
okay. I think we might be unfair as Jews, as Zionists, in the way we are reacting to some of the demonstrations of the pro-Palestinians. And I have a few reasons I feel that way. For example, um, I don't think that all pro-Palestinians are violent or, they want violence. They have their perception of things. Um, Second of all, um, whether you want to agree with me or not, I feel that the Palestinians did live under oppression. The Israelis did take care of them and they did support them, but at the same time, they've been housed in this massive prison, which, as we've discussed before, maybe the solution was to let them just move on. And thirdly, and more um, targeted, I'm very disturbed about this experience with Ina Vernikov. You're familiar with what happened?
No. Unless you tell me.
There is a councilwoman here in Brighton Beach area, and she came to the protest by Brooklyn College, which is around the corner from my
Yes,
home.
I'm familiar. Yes.
Yeah, she brought a gun.
Okay.
Well, this isn't the Wild West, but because we feel we're on the right, so then we could start breaking laws and showing the side that we're claiming to be pro-violent, that we can bring weapons. I'm confused on a couple of points that I'm not sure I agree on.
Well, there are several problems that we have to deal with. Number one, the Israelis are very bad in PR. They are reacting to events instead of being proactive. By the time they react, or here in the United States, we react, people have been indoctrinated, okay? And that is causing all the problems that are facing today. The war is not against the Palestinians. The war is against the terrorist group that keep them in refugee camps. And like I said before, the uh, the fifth generation is not a refugee. Okay, but they are claiming that the fifth generation of the Palestinians are refugees, and the world buys it because we are not very good in PR. And I mentioned this many, many times that we have to be proactive, okay, not reactive, but that is not happening. So we are where we are. But people have to understand that the war is not against the Palestinians, it's against Hamas. Unfortunately, uh, they use the Palestinians as hostages. And unlike them, uh, they want to save as many lives as they can of the civilians. But there will be a lot of deaths, and this war will last for a very, very long time, months.
Right. So this is what I'm touching on, is that the Israelis have them in this massive, I would call it a compound. It's a city, it's a massive area to be called a compound, but the Palestinians can't get out because they're trapped you're right. There are bad guys there that are doing it, but it's a scenario that perhaps the Israelis were a little complicit in creating by bordering them in. I don't think this was ever a
How
good
is
idea to begin
Israel?
with.
Look, 1 second. No Arab country wants the Palestinians. They did not open the doors for the ones that are in the south. Not a single Arab country. How is Israel complicit in it?
Because maybe they never should have done this to begin with. This just seemed like a bad idea from the start. To take people,
What do you mean?
to take people and take care of them and give them their needs, but hold them in a walled city.
So how is Israel, okay, complicit in it? Israel is providing them money, providing them water, providing them electricity.
If
How is Israel complicit?
It's a simple question. If somebody is in prison and the way the prison is set up, maybe they don't put jail cell doors, whatever it is, somebody's in prison and they get beaten up by the bully on the cell block. Would you agree with me that the prison is partially responsible for what happened?
Okay, give me a specific example how Israel is complicit.
I'm comparing this
I did
this
not ask you that. I asked you, give me a specific example how Israel is complicit that the Palestinians are under the influence of Hamas. That is, Hamas is their government, okay, and Hamas is keeping them in what you call prison.
the the Israelis are not allowing them to come towards their wall. They only have one direction to go, and Hamas is closing off those streets and shooting at them if they choose to leave. So
That is not true. What are you talking about?
this is in the news with the media is catching conversations between the IDF. I mean, not the news. The IDF is publicizing conversations that they're having with Palestinians where they're telling them, we don't know what to do. You're telling us to go to the border, but when we start going towards the border, Hamas shoots at us. We have no way. We're stuck.
Okay. So what you're saying, then, according to you, are you saying that Israel should go back and let Hamas be there?
No. I'm saying that there has to be another solution.
Okay, give me a solution. You know something? People talk.
Right.
I want a different solution. I want this. So we have to take care of the Palestinians. No Arab countries wants, okay, they've tried every solution. Israel never wanted to go into Gaza. That's why before that, when they sent the 3,000, 5,000, 7,000 rockets, Israel, okay, destroyed a few of their places and they went back. They never wanted to go in it. What they did in October 7 was intentional, okay, to bring the IDF to Gaza and to kill as many young people as they can. Why is Israel complicit if they are sending, okay, and putting Jewish young people lives at risk to save Palestinians?
Because if they wanted to, they could have a strategy. Like I told you, let them go to the sea. I told you from the beginning, I don't think this was a good idea from the start. From when I was old enough to even understand any of this. But what I would suggest at this point as a solution is to give the Palestinians somewhere to exit safely with safe passage.
They gave them 24 hours. They extended that. Okay, Egypt does not let them in. Jordan does not let them in. No Arab country lets them in. What do you want them to do?
What do you want them to
You want all the Palestinians from Gaza to come to Israel?
No, I want them to
And
not
what
get.
is the solution? I mean, people talk. They talk. They have no specific idea how to do it.
And I'm telling you a solution. You're not
I
hearing
do
me.
not understand how Israel is complicit, okay, in the fact that Hamas is keeping the Palestinians, okay, under the poverty line.
I didn't say that Israel is complicit in Hamas keeping control. I said I feel that Israel. You don't like this word complicit. I'm going to back away from it. I feel that Israel could do something else. Okay. The fact is that Israel has.
Okay,
Let me
okay,
finish.
fine. Give me specifics.
So
Don't
I'm
say
trying
there's
to.
something else.
I'm trying to. Israel has spent an enormous amount of money and resources to help the Gazan, the Palestinians survive until this point. So for me to suggest something that's going to be expensive and resource draining, to me, I can expect that because that's what they do every day anyways. They need to come and set up a place where the Palestinians can be separated from the terrorists and then be put into a safe place while the war takes place
Why does Israel have to do that? Why does Hamas do that?
because they put them
Hamas,
in there to be. You keep talking about how the other countries wouldn't take them, but you're not seeing the other the coin
why
is
is
that
it
Israel.
why is it Israel? Okay, why is
So
Israel responsible for the people
because
from Gaza?
your problem is
Gaza was
not,
part of Egypt.
but your problem is not with me. Your problem is with the fact that why did Israel allow it to begin with?
Israel, when they took 10,000 Jews from Gaza
Yes,
forcefully, they
yes,
took them out. They
yes,
gave them for free to see
yes.
if they can work with Israel, with the government. Okay, take a look what had happened.
Did that seem like a good idea to you at the time?
It was not at that time, but they did it. There is nothing we can do now. Okay,
I don't believe in the death of anybody, whether they're on our side, the other side, whatever, however you want to label it. The fact is that you keep talking about how other countries don't want to take them, and I'm saying to you, but the fact is Israel did take them. So once they took them, they took responsibility for them. You can't tell me, oh, why should an adopted father have to worry about a child nobody else wanted to adopt that child? The fact is, Israel took on this responsibility. It was stupid. It was stupid. They never should have done this to begin with. Now that they did it, they have a responsibility. If you're supporting people, then
okay.
they need to
So
go in.
where are the Palestinians going to go?
I have no idea. Let them open up another Gazan city with and be more
Where?
core right next door. I don't know. Let
What
them open
next
up right
door?
next
Nobody wants it.
in Israel, on the desert. It doesn't make a difference. The fact is that if you're going to go into a war and you're going, let's back up a second here. This isn't about me arguing with you. This is about speaking about pro Palestinians and trying to understand the other point of view. If you're going to
I do
go
not
in,
want to understand
okay,
when they murdered the way they were like ISIS, beheading baby children. Okay, this is a terrorist group. I don't want to understand
but
why
you
Hamas did
do.
what they did.
We've had endless conversations about how you said that you can't even hold some Nazis responsible for things that they did because you can't judge
I
somebody
did never
until
said that. I
you
said
you
I do not hold responsible the children, no grandchildren
No, you
of the.
said you can't judge somebody until you're in their place. You never said this.
That I did say. To
So,
save it, I said in the context. I said, okay, if somebody would ask me, would I do with some of the people at the risk of their own lives,
and their
their families'
families,
lives, save
right?
Jews? Okay, if I would save somebody else, and I said I don't know, I would like to say yes, but it would have to. I would have to be in that position. Nobody wants to
Exactly.
be a hero, but the situation cause them to make decisions. And some of them, because they do the right thing for the right reason, become heroes.
Exactly. I agree with you. This is the point I'm trying to bring up. Why do you have this dismissal for this point of thought when it comes to this over here?
I do not dismiss it, but how do you deal, okay, with somebody that wants to kill you? Is the only purpose of their existence is to kill the Jews? How do you deal with them? How do you come to a compromise? How do you come to say, let's do this? How do you compromise with somebody that does not want it? Are you going to go to a war with Egypt to force them to take him in?
I've given a few suggestions last week. I've given a few suggestions today. I don't think this is the point of the conversation. The point of the conversation is that I'm not sure why the average Jew cannot understand that pro-Palestinians are up in arms because they have their perspective, their perception, and they are upset that there are innocent people getting killed. Surely you can understand that.
Why don't you want to accept that the war is not against the Palestinians?
I
It's
didn't say
against the Hamas's infrastructure. Why don't you want to accept that?
that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that to me, there seems like two sides to the argument. People see pro-Palestinian rallies, and they feel that they're rallies of violence and all this stuff. And I speak to my friends that are Muslim, and they tell me that it's just the opposite. They feel that they just don't want to see Palestinians getting killed that are not terrorists.
Israel does not want, if they would want, okay, to kill Palestinians, they could have flattened Gaza in 2 days. They are putting Israeli children's lives at risk to save Palestinians.
Right. And whose fault is that?
Why?
And whose fault is that?
Israel.
What kind of army wins wars on the back of the immature adrenaline of a child? Look at the soldiers. Look at the soldiers from America that show up.
I'm not going to debate this. I'm going to tell you only one thing. There are two sides. You want to see the Palestinian side? Great. Wonderful.
No.
Okay. But why don't you see the Israeli Palestinian side, that they were forced to get into it?
Because everybody keeps saying, I'm not on the side of Israel.
I don't care about everybody.
I'm trying to lead up to a point. I'm trying to say that if you truly want peace, then you have to try to understand the other side's point of view, no matter how uncomfortable it is. I'm not talking about Hamas.
Unbelievable. Ari, do you remember 2005? Israel gave the Palestinians, all of the Palestinians, 95% of their requests. Do you remember that?
And what was the point of it? What did it gain?
They could have had their second state. They could have had, okay, what they wanted, okay, two-state solution. They gave up 95%, and they refused. They do not want. The whole slogan is from the river to the sea, no Jews.
And that's Hamas or all Palestinians?
Palestinians cheered, some of them cheered of the murder, okay, of so many innocent civilians, Jews. Their goal is to listen to their slogan, from the river to the sea.
I understand, and that's the point I'm trying to bring out. Do you really?
How do you deal with somebody that wants to kill you, does not want to talk to you?
So, are you saying that all the Palestinians want to kill the Jews?
I have never said that, but not every Palestinian, okay, wants, okay, the Jews. They are claiming today that they are fighting for a two-state solution, which is not true, because they were given that opportunity in 2005, and they rejected the charter of Abbas. Okay, still does not recognize as of today, okay, the state of Israel. Hamas explicitly said that they want to kill all the Jews.
I'm aware. My question has nothing to do with the war. It has to do with the protests. I'm trying to ask you.
That now, when you're talking about the protest, that is indoctrination. That is the responsibility of the administration of the campuses, okay, that they allow to do that. And what they do, that is not freedom of speech. That's incitement. You have Tlaib, you have Omar, okay, when they go, okay, they should not be in position of power because they incite. They're not trying to find a solution. It's incitement. It's not, incitement is not freedom of speech. If you want, there has to be a conversation. There is no conversation right now.
I feel that a lot of people are hiding behind this claim that they have an issue with Hamas and not the Palestinians. But in all truth, they think that most, if not all, Palestinians, at the very least, are supportive of Hamas, if not.
I agree with you. I
But
told you that the war is not against the Palestinians. How many times do I have to say? It's against Hamas. That they have to destroy the Hamas's infrastructure. Okay, how do you do that if they are hiding with the civilians? How do you destroy those places with ammunition, with rockets?
I am not sure you heard what I just said. You said you agree with me, but I don't think you heard what I said. What I said was that I think that the pink elephant in the room is that most people, meaning most Jews,
What define most people?
Most Westerners that are on the side of the Jews. I think that most people from Western culture believe that all Palestinians are at the very least supportive of Hamas's way.
That is not true.
If not, they're sleeping cells.
That is not a true statement.
Okay.
Okay. Are there people that feel that way? Yes. Is the majority? No. The Western one, okay, United States, in the Western countries, they, okay, like to cheer for the underdog. Hamas is not the underdog. How can you take the side? How can you support mentally? Think about it. How can you support people that behead, okay, young people? They murder so many people, innocent people. How can you logically, okay, as a Western country, some of the Jews, how can you support something like that?
Somalia and African countries do things like this for decades, and America, nobody blinks. They walk through a town with machetes, they chop everybody up. To you, it's more close to home, and it's hurtful because it's Jewish brothers and it's on holy soil, and I get it. But this goes on all over the world, and America doesn't react to it.
Okay, look, I'm not going to debate. Okay, it's an issue that you believe what you believe.
It's not what
if you feel, do you believe that the Palestinians deserve, okay, their own state, their own country?
I have no opinion on that. I'm nowhere near knowledgeable enough on this topic.
If you don't have an opinion, how can you take sides?
I'm not. When did I take a side? I never took a side of anything since we started the conversation. All I'm trying to, you're just very excited on the topic, and you're not necessarily hearing what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to say is that me personally, I have a problem with the IDF altogether. I think, as I started saying, and you interrupted me, I don't think it's right to build an army on the immature adrenaline of a child. You see the U.S. forces showing up, they're 30s and they're older, mature, and the Israelis have this excuse that, oh, they didn't build a family yet. Meanwhile, they're showing weddings. I'm angry at the IDF that they're sending in children. If Netanyahu has a problem, let him go himself. I'm 49 years old, and I promise you I'm stronger than almost any single soldier out there. It's an excuse. You shouldn't be running an army with children. Okay, if you put Netanyahu's kids into the army and you started taking all these big shots that are standing there making speeches, they're all making speeches. You really love Israel, you really care about Israel, then I'm sure you can at least understand me that while you're upset that they did this to us, what are we doing to ourselves? You're talking about that Israelis are going to have to get killed. These are children. When I was their age, I was getting into bar fights, getting drunk.
So you believe in the way you talk, the way I hear, what I hear,
yes,
okay, is that Israel should have not gone into Gaza.
No, I think that the Israeli army should be started at an older age. Putting people into the army when they're children and then sending them off to war and they're dancing and singing. Everybody says, "Oh, look at the unity that Israel has." When they're mistaking immaturity for unity, they're making pictures on the bombs. This is
Okay,
terrible. It's
okay,
terrible.
good. So, well, in that particular case, what you are saying that
Yes,
the IDF should not have young people in the army.
100%. Should start maybe
Why does the
25,
United
30.
States have? Why does the United States have young people in the military?
First of all, the military in the United States, you realize, is comprised in on the average of much older soldiers. The special forces and all these guys that are on the front lines, you see them. These are hardened battle axes. And then we have over here kids that are trained well enough to know this one knows how to use a gun, that one knows how to
Well,
use a tank.
well, okay, you have okay strong feelings about it.
Very.
I will not try to dissuade you from it. Okay, all I'm trying to say is that Israel is fighting for its survival. So, because the army is made out of young people, a lot of young people will die. Unfortunately, a lot of Palestinians will die. Unfortunately, the issue that I am talking about, that Hamas purposely forced Israel's hand, okay, to enter Gaza. They used it for the PR. Israel accepted 7,000 rockets to be shot at them. They did not go into Gaza. They shot 3,000, 5,000. They did not go into it. Right now, the situation is it is what it is. You want to blame the IDF? God bless you. I don't.
No, I imagine somebody stays into a marriage that's a bad marriage longer, and they think they did something heroic. You're telling me that they accepted 7,000 rockets, and I can respond to you by saying maybe they shouldn't have accepted seven. Maybe if they would have nipped this off at the bud, you're saying in their defense, look how patient they were. Maybe patience was a weakness. You don't show patience, and then they should have acted immediately. But I want to get to a point that's valid. I don't like
I,
arguing, and
I,
I
I,
don't.
I'll accept your opinion, but I respectfully disagree.
Well, what kind of crazy country allows seven rockets to get shot in and then says, "Hey, look at us. We allowed 7,000 rockets." Do what you either got to do or don't do what you got to do. I mean, we're
So,
either
so they reacted, but they did not react to the full force. Right now,
listen.
the hand was forced. So
Some
they've done it for years.
something listen I want to say something to you that was said to me directly by a Muslim friend of mine, and I think I so far I told you I'm not giving you my opinion, I'm just debating with you. This is my opinion, but I want you to know he said it, so I'm going to speak on behalf of him, not myself.
That's
How
okay. One second before you take, I'll let you talk. That's your friend, the Palestinian. Does he
no
have a solution?
listen to what he's going to say. It's not like that. It's not like that. Two things that are very very connected, and this is why, just to give you an insight into the way the pro-Palestinian protesters think. Some of them, you're right, might be violent troublemakers, inciters, but then there's a whole nother class of pro-Palestinians, and this is how they think. Okay. Remember, we're in America where you see a lot of shady things in politics. Look at Biden. Everybody forgets. It's like as if his presidency started now. This guy is just looking for a legacy. All the crazy things he did up until 3 weeks ago just melted away. All the news, nobody covers anything else. With this in mind, this guy says the following two points that are connected. Number one, how does the so called most advanced army in the world, specifically with technology, specifically, if a dog were to go near that wall, it would get zapped by a laser? That's how our minds think about the protection that Israel has against the 3 points actually against that wall. It took hours. The whole country takes 4 hours to drive. It took the IDF 6 hours to get there. And number three, remember, we're in America. When every time a politician says something, you have a friend sitting next to you saying, hey, he's full of it. He wants to win the next election. A lot of people think that Netanyahu was involved in this. And I know that's a crazy thing for you to hear, but as from American culture, people believe that we all know Netanyahu, he keeps getting in trouble. So the Muslims, a lot of the Muslims that are pro-Palestinian think that this was an internal setup. And whether you agree or not, you have to admit these are valid points to ponder.
It's a valid point for them. It's not a valid point for somebody that wants to kill me.
I'm sorry, what?
It's a valid point from their perspective. It's not a valid point, okay, for the people that are killed innocently.
But you're talking about an army that was able to fly. They took their fighter jets
The
and they're filling up
intelligence, there was a failure of the intelligence. So they could not prevent it. They did not prevent it. That's a totally different story. Later on, okay, there will be many questions that will have to be answered. Right now, they have to fight for their own survivals. And
That's
right now, they have to destroy the Hamas infrastructure. I'm not talking Palestine, infrastructure. If
correct.
they do not destroy their infrastructure, the whole world is for nothing. And
Agreed.
Hamas has won. The terrorists have won.
I said that's exactly what I said to him. I said, now they have to deal with the problem. Later, heads will roll. Exactly what you're saying. And you know what he said? He said, but this is the problem. Just because you guys are going to make heads roll later, you can't expect a Palestinian, pro-Palestinian protester not to expect answers now. Something doesn't make sense to them.
Things do not happen suddenly. How are you going? Okay. How? You tell me. Ask the Palestinian to tell you. How do you destroy?
He's not Palestinian.
Pardon me?
He's not Palestinian, but
Whoever it is, the Jew, whoever it is.
no, he's okay.
Ask them, how do you destroy a terrorist infrastructure? I'm not talking about Palestinians. The terrorists, the Hamas's infrastructures, so they cannot shoot any more rockets. They cannot control and dominate the Palestinians. How do you do it? Okay, when they are hiding in hospitals, the schools, homes of people, how do you destroy it?
I mean, personally, I'm not really sure why they don't use their intelligence a little bit more and their army a little bit less.
So there was an intelligence failure, fine, but the hand was forced.
I understand, but all I'm saying to you is if you
But
follow,
I cannot, okay, I cannot, while I'm at war, I cannot talk to that person that feels that way because they feel very strongly about it that Israel is at fault. So how do you convince somebody that Israel is not at fault? Take a look at the media with the hospital. It was their, okay, rocket that destroyed the hospital without having any evidence, without knowing the whole facts. They blamed Israel. How do you have a conversation with somebody like that that is making a decision without knowing the facts, with not understanding how things happen?
I agree with you. I'm not disputing this fact. I'm just trying to tell you that it's not a far stretch when you live in a country where you know that a lot of politics, you see people playing games all the time, and then you know that Netanyahu has been in trouble countless times, and he just keeps. How many times has America created a war in the middle of nowhere in order to give credit to the president or something weird? I'm just saying that I can understand the jump in logic. I, I'm not saying that he's right.
Okay, listen, God bless you. Okay, I'm not going to try to give you a different perspective. I have told you If somebody wants to kill me, I do have the right. Okay. Now, if you want to kill me, but you try to kill me, bringing with you another person. Okay. I do not know which one is which, and I will kill both of you.
Can I ask you a question? I agree with everything you're saying, but can you agree with me that something is strange about the fact that this country with this amazing air force that they're able to go all the way into Iraq, flying 100 feet off the ground, filling up the airplanes while they're going on the runway. They're doing all these amazing feats, right? Blowing up bunkers underground, and it took them 6 hours to get there. How does it make any sense?
Because Israel, I told you, they did not want to go into Gaza.
No, 6 hours to get to the locations in Israel that were under fire from Hamas.
So there was, and I said it before, there was an intelligence failure from the Americans and from Israel. Okay, there will be many questions after. Okay, the Hamas infrastructure will be destroyed. This will take months, maybe years. But the only thing I'm saying is until the Hamas infrastructure is destroyed, Hezbollah, if they get in, I want to tell you something. During the Holocaust, okay, people went quietly. Okay, this particular time, if Israel feels that Hezbollah will attack, Jordan will attack, Egypt will attack, ones from Jenin will attack, all the terrorists, Israel will not go quietly. I can guarantee you that. So therefore, the West has to stay with Israel, allow the IDF to do what they have to do, not talking right now. People are talking about, okay, having a ceasefire.
I'm listening.
Pardon me?
I'm with you.
I don't know what you said.
No, I said I'm listening.
I just told you.
I'm sorry. I
Just,
think
how is it possible? Okay, let me rephrase, since apparently you did not hear what I said.
I did
Okay.
hear what you said, but what I think that I'm trying to get you to agree with me on at least one point. Would it be fair?
Look, they
Would it be
have the right, but okay, everything Israel has done, okay, to try to make peace. There is no such thing, in my opinion, as land for peace. There is no such thing, in my opinion, no such thing. It's peace for peace. It is no such thing that the fifth generation in any throughout the history, that the fifth generation is still called a refugee. It does not make sense. They have tried to bring people together. Take a look at what happened with the Palestinians in Israel. Okay, they are not under the Hamas rule. They have liberties. You have the Supreme Court, that is the Supreme Court judge that put an Israeli president in prison. Okay, they have Israeli Palestinians as Israeli ambassadors and everything else. They can go to university. They can do anything they want. What
right.
else do you want to give? What do you want? What do you want to give to Palestinians to stop the war? What do you want to give them?
Nothing. All I'm trying to say is
But
that
if you're not going to give them nothing, they will continue to blame Israel and to do what they want.
I'm saying that one moment. Yes.
Okay.
Okay. All I'm saying, all I'm saying is that the same way our war is going on now, I think the pro-Palestinian, these protests, this is their war, and they want the
How
answers
come
right
not?
away.
How come none of them? None of them. Okay. has said a single good word or a bad word about Hamas and what they did.
I don't know. I don't follow their radio
Ah,
stations. I have no clue.
so you see, you answered your own question. So if they're
Well,
not the good people, they also have to talk against Hamas. They're talking only against Israel. There has to be two sides. How can they justify, okay, the president of Turkey, okay, he took the Hamas side, okay, to agree to murder innocent people? This is not a revolution. This is not, okay, a war for independence, for whatever they want. This is massacre. They had massacres against the Jews forever. In 1929, the Arabs massacred Jews. Palestine, Israel did not exist. Okay, it was Palestine. They lived, all of them together. They were called Palestinians. How come they had the massacres in 1929? Without the state of Israel, there was no Jewish state in the world. Why did they massacre them in 1929?
because they were a
Did,
violent mob that went psychotic.
okay, they're talking about Israel. Why did Lebanon throw them out? Why did Jordan throw them out? Why did the Syrians throw them out? Very few people remember that the Syrians murdered 80,000 Palestinians. Gaza was under the Egypt's, okay, rule. Why did they kick him out? Can you explain to me why is only Israel to be blamed? Why are the other countries that are not helping the Palestinians not blamed?
I think you're answering your own question. Sometimes the person that tries the most is to be blamed. Like I told you, a bad marriage. Somebody will say, "Oh, why did I accept 60,000 rockets? Maybe you should have gotten divorced sooner. Maybe they shouldn't have taken them in. Maybe they should."
I agree with you, but I'm trying to tell you, and you, okay, listen to what I'm saying. Israel, the IDF, Israel never wanted to go in Gaza. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Okay. So what they did is they did destroy some of the tunnels. They destroyed a few people, a few Hamas militants, whatever it is. But they did not go. This was going on for years. This is not something that happened now. It was going on for years. This time, the Hamas did something that is beyond being humanitarian, beyond being human. Okay, they did something, and they knew they did it on purpose for propaganda. And they knew that if they will do what they did, Israel will go inside. And that's exactly what their goal is. And they want to kill as many Israelis as they can. Now, if you do the Palestinians, the ones that are, let's assume that they are not under the Hamas's rule, are there Palestinians that want to live in peace? Yes. Why don't they stand up and say what Hamas did is the wrong thing? Why don't they stand up against the Hamas?
Because they'll get killed.
Those are the good people, the good Palestinians.
Because they'll get killed.
Say it again.
Because they'll get killed.
And Israel is guilty that they will get killed by Hamas if they speak up. God bless you. Okay, I have no answer to that.
I think that Israel pulled off more than it can chew to begin with.
Yes, that I agree with you. But that's the past. Israel made many mistakes. Okay, many mistakes. Giving Gaza for free, not asking for anything in return. Israel made many mistakes. But it's water under the bridge. There is nothing you can do about it. We are today, and people do not want to understand history. When I go to schools and talk about the Holocaust. I am teaching them, like I was right now in St. Louis. I teach the young people how the Holocaust happened. It did not happen suddenly. It happened with words, happened with bullying, it happened with propaganda. And Israel was not able or did not know how, okay, to react to the propaganda of the Palestinians. Now, the other thing is what I'm trying to tell you is that Israel, okay, has reacted. The Jews are reacting to things. When are the Jews going to become proactive? Do something before, okay, the world is indoctrinated. Israel made mistake and they were not very good at the PR. They are not.
I agree.
So do I have a solution? I don't. Okay. Do I want the Palestinians to be killed? I don't. But the concern is, okay, how do you destroy an infrastructure when they hide among the civilians and hospitals, schools, and everything else, okay, without killing innocent people? So you have two choices. Either you can destroy the infrastructure, or if not, the war will, okay, the way things are, and shooting rockets, and a few years later, you destroy a few sites, and this will go on forever and forever. My concern is right now is that Hezbollah will enter the war. And if Hezbollah enters the war, if the jihadists from Judea and Samaria will enter in it, okay, it becomes a regional thing.
It seems almost a certainty.
Well, in that particular case, I want to tell you something. Israel may not exist anymore, but Israel will not go quietly. I don't have to say it, okay, in specific words. You know exactly what I'm talking about. And that's why United States and the West must allow Israel, the IDF, in this situation to accomplish their goal, to destroy I'm going to say again, I do not use the word Palestinian, the Hamas's infrastructure in the tunnels, okay, wherever they are. That's why they are sending the ground troops. They have not started yet. They could have done it a long time ago. They are waiting to find different solutions. But they must destroy. Otherwise, it will go on forever and ever.
Yes.
This has not started now. Did not start right now with Hamas. It started even before World War II. Okay, 1929. Do you know the Mufti of Jerusalem? He, okay, made an agreement with Hitler, and then, okay, Hitler used the, okay, that particular, I forgot right now his name, okay, and basically what they did, Hitler started the front in Middle East. He did not initially, okay, intend to go to the Middle East. Okay, but the Mufti of Jerusalem, okay, shook hands with him, and he agreed, okay, to murder Jews. This is not an issue. You know, people forget history. They are talking what's today. Okay, I am today, right now, a motivational speaker. I'm today a Holocaust survivor that goes to schools and universities, organizations. Okay, that's me today. How many people know what forced me, which I never intended to do, what forced me to become an activist? I became an activist only about, I would say, about 10 years ago, 12 years ago. I've never been one. I was in the background. What forced me to do? You have to understand my background. But today I am what I am. I am not going back. I can't go back. I cannot change anything. I don't want to change anything. It's done. It's over. And I tell the young people, because I showed the steps, how it started with the end of World War I, how things kept escalating. Hitler came, okay, when he came to start this organization, he had only 8 people. I mean, 6 people. in 1930. Okay, 30% of the Germans voted for him. It did not become suddenly. It was, again, I'm going to repeat it, words, bullying, propaganda. Okay, people became desensitized. And it was repeated, and repeated, and said so often that finally, okay, they accepted it as a fact. And I teach the young people to learn how the Holocaust happened. And by learning from the past, they will be able to see the signs of today, okay, and respond appropriately, prevent future tragedies. So that's why when they're looking at the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, we have to look at the past to understand how we came here. But right now, it's not the time. Right now, okay, it's a must. If Israel wants to survive, they must destroy the Hamas's infrastructure. If you can give me a suggestion, or if you can think of how do you kill somebody, or let's assume that they had the rockets under a hospital. How do you destroy that rocket, the manufacturing company, building the rockets, if they are under a school, if they are under a hospital? How do you destroy it? Give me a solution.
So there's a lot to talk about. As I mentioned, you have spies, you have undercover agents. You know, there was a time when people believed that half
But
of
it's
Hamas.
gone. What can, okay, I don't know how to put it to you. There is nothing you can do. Both sides made mistakes. I have told this a million times. Both sides made mistakes. Israel made great mistakes. But it's gone. There is nothing you can do about it. The kids, 5-year-old kids, are indoctrinated to kill an Israeli. How do you talk to them?
Right. Right.
Okay? I hear the other people. But why, whoever is telling you that it's Israel's fault, why don't you ask him how to tell you the history, how it happened that we came to this point? He will not be able to tell you. A lot of the people do not know the history, okay, of Israel, how it came, what it was, where it is today. I do not understand the administrators of colleges like Berkeley, UC Berkeley, Harvard, the smartest young people that the United States has to offer, okay? And they are protesting against Israel and pro-Hamas, pro-murderers. Okay, a lot of them are possibly also foreign students. They should not be allowed, okay, to do that. That is, how shall I say, incitement. It's not freedom of speech. And the professors that incite people, or people in the government that incite people, okay, they should be dismissed. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
That's
Agreed.
all I am saying. But the past is gone. I can't explain it better.
Understood. Always a pleasure, Sami.
Or that I agree with you. I agree with you. But right now, when you talk with your Palestinian friends, and I have Palestinian friends, okay, I have no problem. But if you talk to them, okay, ask them, how did we come to this position? And don't start, okay, with the state of Israel. Start with 1929.
Understood.
Ask them what happened in 1939. Ask them what did they know about the Mufti, okay, promising Hitler. She shook hands with him, promising Hitler that he will murder Jews. Find out if they know the history. This is not in a vacuum. It's
Understood.
years. Take a look. Forget about the Israeli-Palestinian government. Do you remember the crisis in Cuba? It's not personal, but the news and everything else.
Yeah, I was too young,
Okay.
but yeah.
Yes?
Yes.
Okay. Kennedy said that if you're not going to get out, okay, the missiles from Cuba, he will start World War III. Kennedy, okay, and he did. Khrushchev took out the missiles from Cuba. He denied for a very long time. But the interesting part is, do you know what Khrushchev said?
What's that?
We do not have to have a war with the United States. They will destroy themselves. It took 60 years with wars, propaganda, people not reacting. Okay? And take a look where we are today in the United States. Nothing is in a vacuum. There is always action, reaction. Who started?
I hear you.
If you
I
don't
hear
know
you.
history, if you don't know history, how can you have such a strong opinion against one side?
It's not like that. I don't have a strong opinion of either side. I like to understand people's perspectives, and I think it's important to understand people's perspectives in order to understand where they're coming from, whether they're right or wrong.
Okay, did you ask your friend, okay, the Palestinian friend or the friends that you have, did you ever ask them what is the solution? Okay, I agree
We
with
have
you. You have a good
conversations.
one. What is your solution?
We have different conversations.
And what was their solution?
I think for right now, the focus is on stopping the conflict, which I agree. This is not something that you or many people are for, and neither am I necessarily. It's a mess.
I
It's a
have
big
told
problem.
many people, I've told many people a long time ago that the way Israel, okay, responded to the Hamas's barrage of missiles. I said, why do they expect a different result by using the same tactics?
Exactly.
And I asked that many times before. I said, how can they expect? Right now, okay, they were not going to do anything, but Hamas forced their hand the way, not only the fact that they murdered Israelis, civilians, but the fact that they, okay, forced the hand. How come the Israelis living in their own country, okay, have to live in the bunkers all the time? They have 15 seconds to go to a bunker.
Right.
How can you live like that?
It's not acceptable.
So why are the Hamas, okay, throwing 7,000 rockets to a very tiny country, New Jersey?
I think sometimes the nice person is the one that gets hurt the most. I
Which
find that
one?
many
Say it
then
again.
a lot of times in life, the nicer person is the one that gets hurt the most. This is nothing new. Should have toughened up and been as tough as the Arab states, and then maybe they would have no problem like the Arab states don't.
Okay, I'm going to ask you a question. Is the war against the Palestinians right now?
The war is to pluck out Hamas.
I'm going to ask again. Is the war against Palestinians?
The war is not against the Palestinians, but
Thank
the
you, sir.
casualties are
Thank you,
coming.
sir.
The
It's against
casualties
the
are coming.
regime that oppresses them. They have their government. Hamas, it's their government. Hamas controls the schools, controls the hospitals, controls every infrastructure in Gaza. Okay, okay. Again, I'm going to state, and we can talk about it, and we will never agree. It's like politics and religion. The only thing that I'm trying to say, the war is not against the Palestinians, but the people that have to get rid of a murderous regime, they have to stand up. It's not somebody else's duty to to go up. But right now, Hamas did what they did on purpose. They succeeded, and they forced Israel, hand. In Israel, I'm going to say again, if people want to believe or not, Israel did not react appropriately, did not react on time, okay? And it was cat and mouse. And right now, okay, the Israeli intelligence failed, the American intelligence failed, okay? And right now, when there's a no-win situation.
Right. Thank you, Sami. Always a pleasure.
Okay. But I'm going to say again, you know, I'm not excited or whatever it is. Like you said, I was excited. All I'm trying to say is ask your friends, okay? Not just listening to them, okay? But tell them, how did we come to that situation? When did it start, the problem? And if they tell you that it started with 1948, I'll give you another example. In 1948, okay, between 500 and 700,000 Palestinians, Arabs, had to leave Israel. Okay? Okay, they had no place to go. Nobody wanted them. Okay, and they lived, okay, in what do you call it, as refugees in the very different camps and in dire situations. Okay, right now, only in Israel alone, forget about Judea and Samaria, forget about, okay, Gaza. 2.5 million Arabs live in Israel. In 1948, between 700,000 and 1 million Jews left. There are less than 4,000 Jews in the entire Arab world. Okay? In the entire Arab world. Okay? And they came to Israel. There are no refugees in Israel. Okay? And at the same time, they were absorbed. Okay, okay, where is the genocide?
Right.
Where is it?
Right.
How is it possible? Okay, centuries of Jewish culture is disappearing in Iran, okay, in Iraq, in other countries. How is it possible? They're talking about we were forced out. What happened with the Jews? The Jews willingly left Iran, left Egypt, left Jordan, willingly.
No.
So why is this accepted? Why don't people understand, okay, that in Israel there are no refugees, okay, and they were captive for 5 generations as refugees. Who ever heard that the 5th generation is a refugee?
Agreed. Welfare.
You agree, but you disagree.
No, I agree with you. I agree with everything you said. I just think that when you want to understand what people are rallying for, you need to understand their perspective. And you're saying
Yeah, I agree with you,
set them straight.
but the other person has also be willing to listen you my side.
100%.
I'll give you an example. Sorry, I said it one time. I'll tell you again. Okay?
Yes.
I was at UC Berkeley, ultra liberal campus, university. And when I was there, I found out that a Lebanese Christian student had extreme negative feelings against the state of Israel. Okay? And I was curious if he would be willing to talk to me. And they had a very large Christian and Muslim follow. And to my surprise, he said yes. And when I asked him, why do you have such extreme feelings about the state of Israel? And I made sure that facially, I didn't give him the opportunity to misinterpret what I said. And the way you treat a person, that's the way they will treat you.
Right.
I listened to what he had to say. I heard him. He did the same thing. And approximately 45 minutes later, we shook hands. You may be surprised. And I said, look, you're lumping two things together. If you're against the Israeli government's policy, you have my blessing. But the state of Israel has done nothing to you. Can you separate the two issues? And because we had a dialogue, we were willing to listen and to hear what the other side said. He said yes. That has not happened. Okay?
Understood.
And just one side, it takes two to tango. If just one side wants peace, the other side does not want peace, there is no solution. I tell the young people not to use the word, okay, West Bank, to use disputed territories. When you use West Bank subconsciously, that means occupation. That is confrontation. Nothing will happen. It just escalates. But when you use disputed territories, if both sides are willing, you can come to a resolution. So it's the same thing, okay? But the nuance of the word is totally different. And believe it or not, I've spoken to 1,200, 400, okay, 2,000, okay? I have spoken to non-Jewish students, and I never had the backlash. You know who I got the backlash from? From the Jews. The former Prime Minister of Israel, Bennett, used the word West Bank. Why would you use, okay, the enemy's propaganda, the words that they use? Can you give me an answer?
No, no, I think there's a lot to talk about. Like I said, this is an endless conversation, and I think we have to cut it short because
Okay.
it's going on quite a while. I agree with everything you said, and
I
we'll we'll,
agree
we'll
with
talk.
you. Okay. Okay. I don't have an answer. And all I'm telling you, when you talk to your Palestinian friends, okay,
Right.
ask them to explain to you when the war started. If they start with 1948, okay, if
Okay.
they think the whole problem started only in 1948, then you know that you don't have a person that is willing to hear your side.
Okay. We'll continue this, Sammy. I have more thoughts, but I don't want to prolong it on.
Okay,
I hear what you're saying, and thank you again for the conversation.
my pleasure. Okay, let's hope. Okay, and okay, you are religious. You know that in every generation they did try to destroy us. You know that? But we
Yes.
prevailed. With God's help, we prevailed. We are here. And whether the world likes it or not, we are here to stay. Okay? And Israel has the right to do what they have to do. Okay? To survive. And I hope that Biden, the West, will not, I mean, they will pressure Israel to have a ceasefire, at least, if not to get out. But I hope that they will smart enough and allow Israel to finish the job that they started. And this is to destroy Hamas's infrastructure. And God help us if Hezbollah enters. Hezbollah is much more powerful than Hamas.
Yes. Thank you, Sammy.
And I want to say, I want you to ask anybody that you want, why do the Palestinians say a single bad word against Hamas? They are oppressed by that. Why don't they say something about Hamas?
Understood.
There was a survey recently, okay, and most of the Palestinians agree with Hamas. I don't know if you're surprised or not. your friends may not be these types, but a lot of the Palestinians, unfortunately, agree with Hamas.
We will talk.
Good. Okay. Have a wonderful Shabbos.
Thank you.
Okay. And let's do it the next time. Let's do it on Friday.
Yes.
On Friday, if we can do it at 11 o'clock, that would be fine.
Okay, God willing.
Okay?
Yes.
Thank you.